So the other day I was scrolling on YouTube and I seen a few other YouTubers making videos about a GR Corolla that caught on fire and Toyota is denying the warranty. So it kind of persuaded me to make a video on the subject matter. Now, first thing first, do we have an issue with the GR Corollas catching on fire? Have I seen them in the shop with any engine issues or any concern? And the answer is no, I haven't seen any GR Corollas in the shop yet with engine failures. I haven't seen them come in for anything other than simple maintenance, oil change, tires. So first thing first, I have yet to see one catch on fire coming through the dealership where I work at. So the case online that everybody's talking about where this one particular GR Corolla caught on fire and Toyota's denying the warranty claim, and they don't want to pay for it because I guess the customer drove up to 85 miles per hour or something like that. I didn't really investigate because I know I'm not going to have all the facts in front of me, and I don't want to just react off, just the pictures I see on social media. So it leads me to make a video on, are there cases where Toyota will deny your warranty claim? And I thought this would be an interesting thing for you guys to be educated on, because there are cases where you can't come into in the shop for service and you have a complaint, and then after a little investigating, the Toyota can deny the claim. So let's talk about that for a minute. What are the cases where you as a customer may own a vehicle that's still under warranty, maybe 5,000 miles, 10,000 miles, and then you bring it in for a concern, and then Toyota says, no, we're not going to cover that. It's not a manufacturer defect. It's maybe the way you're driving it. How can we say that confidently? See, on these newer cars today, you guys may not know this, but it's just like an airplane. You know how airplanes, they have the black box, in case of a crash, it stores data. And then the data, it tells a lot about what happened in that crash event that led up to it or even before. Going back to the cars we have today, the technology in these cars, the computers in them are able to store so much. I know Toyotas for sure, the pre-collision system, the airbag system, the lane departure, the camera you see on the windshield on your Toyota with lane departure system, these pre-collision safety features, they store a lot of data. So a lot of the time what customers don't know is that camera that's on the windshield, it can actually record, I don't remember exactly how many seconds prior before an accident or a certain abnormality that occurred. So what do I mean? For example, let's just say the pre-collision light came on and the car stopped by itself. Well, maybe 30 seconds prior to that event happening, the camera will record that and save it. Now, you as a customer, you're not going to be able to get access to that. Only the technicians at a dealer or a special, investigating team that Toyota has in case, of certain events or crashes that, they're able to go in and retrieve the data and look inside the lane departure camera. Now, it's not recording your audio. It's not recording you on your personal time. It's not recording personal information. It's just there as an extra safety feature, and it has the capability to collect data. So all the lane departure cameras, all the pre-collision system, if you have those kind of features, can save a lot of data that tells a lot about the driving pattern. For example, I've had customers come in, they say, hey, my check engine light is on, my ABS light's flashing. With these new cars, when one light's set, all the other lights set. So they come in and they say, hey, my check engine light's coming on, ABS light's flashing, or ABS light coming on. So you pull it in the shop and you get a brake control switch, malfunction or correlation code. So my favorite thing to do is go in and I go into the vehicle control history and I search for any abnormalities inside the system. Like I said, it collects data and it flags it anytime there's an abnormality that the computer senses. So sometime in those cases, what I would find is I'll see brake switch on and I'll see the throttle pedal at a certain degree or angle, which makes me believe that the customer was driving with the brake and the throttle pedal at the same time. And the computer will store that. I've had another customer come in, they had a TRD Pro truck, and they were complaining that, the tires are kind of starting to wear unevenly on the outer edges. And, they checked the alignment's good, it's within specs. And he said, this is not right. The Tundra trucks, they don't exactly wear like an Avalon or a Prius tire. Sometimes they start to, chafe away around the outer edges. But this one, he did have an abnormal wear to them. That's not really normal. So he said, no, I'm not driving it aggressively. I'm not doing anything wrong. Again, alignment keeps passing the test. The suspension system is still good. So what do? We go into the vehicle control history, and what do we find? Abnormalities on the list. And it's not to say that he was driving, 80 miles an hour or 90 miles an hour. That's all stuff you're supposed to do. But the thing that the pre-collision system stored and the lane departure camera stored is the steering angle values. That's right. Your steering wheel has a steering sensor in there that also stores how fast you're turning the wheel. So on his particular truck, what I found was as he's driving, I see the steering angle because it's set that abnormality, steering angle speed above threshold, something like that. And then you could click on it on the computer, and then you look at all the data lists on how the engine was operating, the speed, the RPMs, all the complete list of data. Was the brake switch on, how fast he was going? And then what I found was he was making turns at 45, 50 miles an hour. So I don't know what his driving pattern was or what the roadways where he's at looks like, but if you have a pattern of making sharp turns or left turns, 90-degree turns at 40, 45 miles per hour, the trucks, just imagine if I'm driving 45 miles an hour and I make a left turn at 45 miles an hour, very little brake application, the truck's just pretty much swaying like this. You do that enough times, your tire is going to have a certain wear to them that a normal driver would not. And of course, I went on to explaining it to the customer, and he told me I was full of crap, of course, in a much harsher way. But ideally, and I saw multiple of those flags. It doesn't just store at one time. It was stored at this time, mileage, this time and date, mileage. It doesn't just store at one time and that's it. It'll just keep repeating it each time you have those occasions. So that was that scenario. I had another customer that came in, and the lady said that while she was driving, the brakes came on by themselves. The vehicle was braking by itself. Now I'll tell you something. There are 3 complaints that Toyota never want to hear: unintended braking, unintended accelerating, unintended steering. Those 3 things right there. If you're expecting your vehicle back the same day, don't go into the dealership complaining about any of those 3, because they have a whole designated team that's going to look into that. And they come on and do the same thing. They plug in their scanner, look into the camera, look into the lane departure system, pre-collision system, gather as much data as they can, and then they make a ruling. So the lady came in and said, hey, my Corolla, it brakes by itself every time on the highway. And then I went on to explain to her the process. I told her, hey, this is a legal matter now. Right when you say unattended braking, meaning you didn't intend to brake and all of a sudden the car just stops by itself, that's a big no-no. So Toyota does not like that. They have a complete list of steps we must follow. First is going to be an interview with the customer. So the customer has to sit down with the advisor, talk about the weather condition. What road, what lane were you in? What time was it? Was it raining, snowing, Was it a dusty road? What time of day was it, AM or PM? A whole list of questions. First, you interview the customer. And then I told the same customer, I said, hey, the next step after we interview you, you have to sign a consent form. And she said, what? Consent form for what? So yeah, you have to sign a consent form so we can look into the lane departure camera so we can send that data over to Toyota. Or Toyota is going to need that consent form from you to be able to retrieve those images from the lane departure camera. We can't just go in there and look at them without your consent. So that way, if we're trying to use it in court, or if it is being used in court, the customer is aware that, that was a step in the process. So she kind of looked confused. She was like, you telling me you're able to see, how I was driving? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to be able to send them, because that's what they're going to need. If I look into that camera, they're able to access what's stored in that camera, and they can see whether there was a car in front of you or not, and the car braked by itself, or if it was just an empty road, and then it braked by itself. They want to be able to know that if it was functioning properly. And then she kind of hesitated for a minute, and she was like, well, you know what? I don't really think I want to wait for all of that. I think I'm just better off having the pre-collision safety system turned off. So sometimes they are fearful that you're going to see something. And I saw the vehicle control history. Those we are able to look at. that just gives me the data list. But as far as the image on the lane departure camera, I can't pull that information without the consent. So vehicle driving behavior, data, that kind of stuff, I'm able to pull no problem. I don't need a consent form. Matter of fact, it's a diagnostic step Toyota have us follow, you know, that we could ensure, we diagnose the vehicle properly. Because sometimes it's not always a mechanical error or electrical error. Sometimes it's just a user operation. So it's important for the customers to know that, these things can be, tracked and data can be collected from them. So I'll tell you about another customer. He had I believe a Camry. He didn't like the way the shifting felt on the Camry. I don't know what kind of car he came from, but he would come in and say, this transmission doesn't feel right. I don't like this car. Clearly, he didn't like the car because we would drive it and it felt fine, and he wasn't happy with that. So he'll come in another time. Hey, we know, open up a task case, got the engineers involved. Oh, your Camry's fine, it's fine. Finally he took it and came back, say, see, I told you it's broken. Transmission is gone. All right, now transmission does have a concern, slipping, high RPMs. So back again, plug that scanner in, scan for codes. This guy right all along? Every time he come in, we can't duplicate the concern. Let's do some investigating. Go look under the vehicle control history, looking for that background data that, is stored in the computers. And then what did we find? So what he would do is on the highway, we saw a lot of abnormalities that I talked about. So on the back end of the computer in the ECU, stored in the memory in the ECU, I found as he was driving, he would always throw the car in neutral. Drive high RPMs, accelerating, right into neutral, back into drive. So, and then it will record all those data. And it did multiple steps, mileage, and like I said, the time is stamped. So you got the time when that started happening, and then we link it to the time he started complaining about the concern. By doing that, it's not hard to figure out what you're trying to do. So we look at the original time you came in for the concern, and what they did was they looked at the timestamp that he started having those abnormalities, and they're like, hey, you're just doing that on purpose at this point because you are happy with this car, and therefore, your transmission cannot be approved under warranty because you caused this yourself. You don't want to be like that, guys. Do not do that. So when I hear about the GR Corolla catching on fire, I'm not quick to say, it's when the GR Corolla catching on fire and Toyota is not covering the warranty. I'm not quick to say, Toyota is wrong and I don't have all the complete facts. Will I go search for the complete facts to try to figure out this case? No, I probably would not. But I'm sure if Toyota says, hey, we're not covering this, there's a reason why. It's not because he was doing 85 miles per hour. We're allowed to do 85 miles per hour in our car. They never turn down a claim because somebody was speeding or going over the speed limit. There's always something more to it. Like I said, if there's a YouTuber out there who want to sit there and then go into the dealership, get all the files and document, be my guest, I'd rather not. So just in case you guys weren't aware, these cars, as you're driving them, I'm sure other manufacturers do it too. But the Toyotas and Lexus, if you're driving them, just know that the pre-collision safety system, the camera are able to capture images. So in case of an accident or in case of mechanical failures, we do look into those vehicle control history data to see if there was any abnormalities in the way it was driven, the way the engine was operating. And that's another thing too. See, my thing is I love looking into the vehicle control history. I love looking at a bunch of data compiled together and be able to paint a picture of what happened. And that kind of stemmed from, not to veer off topic or anything, but, back in the days, they used to have these horsepower TV shows that come on Fox or Spike TV, whatever it was. And I used to always be impressed by those guys, man. They would just look at graphs all day long on the computer and then they would be able to tell you how the engine is operating. So even at an early age, I was always fascinated by those guys, how they're able to look at a sheet of paper and tell you how an engine is operating. So that kind of stuck with me. So when I went to school for mechanic, I'm like, I don't want to just be an alternator, brake job guy, and, just getting dirty. If I'm gonna be honest, that's not really my thing. I was always more in tune with the engine performance side, like looking at data parameters on how the engine is running. looking at the O2 reading, the mass airflow sensors, the air fuel sensor reading, the calculated load, misfire data, short-term, long-term fuel trims, and to be able to tell you if the engine has a clogged injector, a leaky injector, exhaust leak. That's my thing. I don't have to get dirty. I just plug my scanner in. If I'm gonna be honest, those are what I consider easy days. If I could have it my way, I'll be doing that all day. I'm not really at this point into really changing out a rack and pinion or a steering knuckle or a wheel bearing. I'm more like, let me look at some data parameters. Let me do some diagnosing with engine performance related stuff or some electrical diagnostic. If I could go to work and not have to worry about getting dirty and then just looking at graphing stuff, test driving, doing complete monitor resets, and that's more of my thing. But some guys, they don't like that. But me, anytime I could look at some vehicle control history data, I love it. I love being able to paint a picture. So just so you know, you guys, that is part of the steps that we do at the dealer. And it's not done to deny warranty claims. That's not what these things are there for. I don't want to give the wrong idea that they're there to deny claims. They're there for, one, diagnostic purposes, two, liability for Toyota, and and three, the technology itself is advanced. These things, they collect a lot of data. Yeah, there might be up-to-date technology. Everybody wants up-to-date technology, but the thing that up-to-date technology, capable of is collecting a lot of data, processing a lot of data rapidly. That's why, so it's not there to spy on you and see if you're speeding or not. It's there to just kind of collect information and be able to be a useful tool when it comes to diagnosing or trying to see where faults and failures occur. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you didn't know your car capable of doing that, or your Lexus, and like I said, this GR Corolla, I saw it on my feed on the recommendations, and I don't know what the whole background story is, but if your car is being denied, for warranty work, I would need to see the complete RO, complete facts, presented before me before I say, oh, Toyota sucks. And this is not to be on Toyota's side, not be on Toyota's side. I'm just saying I don't have all the facts, guys. So don't be quick to believe everything you hear online. Just know that, investigation and diagnosing are done before Toyota would say, I'm just going to deny it, after you bought this car from us. I even go a step further. There's times where we see abnormalities in the vehicle control history, and we'll bring it up to the manager and say, hey, this is not exactly warranty. And they'll stick up for the customer. They'll say, no, this customer has bought, multiple vehicles from us. They own multiple Toyotas, their family, they come buy from us all the time. Let's give them this one. Let's do it under warranty. Let's not make them pay out of pocket for it. But those things are not talked about. And I see that a lot at the dealership. I see that more, honestly, than the other way around. We're giving the customers more stuff away for free than the customer being denied warranty work, if I'm gonna be honest. So I hope you guys learned something new today. That's always the agenda when I make these videos. I try to be a little different than getting on here and just start bashing stuff, and try to give you something to walk out of here with, something that you can learn from. I try to make it instructive at the end of the day. Hope you guys find this video informative in any way. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching.